grew up just 2 minutes from the coast. I was either by, on or in the sea from a young age. And I guess, yeah, just fell in love with the coast. My geography project at school was the Preston Beach recharge scheme, so maybe that had an influence on my interest in coastal engineering, coastal management. And yeah, I went off and studied ocean science, ended up in a job after that doing flood and coastal risk management in a big international consultancy, and developed my career through that, and found myself coming to work at BCP Council, setting up a shared service between BCP and East Devon District Council, doing what I've been specialising for over 28 years. So I'm really interested in how we as humans use the coast, how the coast evolves, how nature will want to change the coast in the future, and how we will respond to that. It's always been an interesting question to me. And yeah, I just find the technical nature of it and the challenges we're facing are so complex, and the work is so varied. It never gets boring.
So we do quite a mix of subjects at the Heritage Coast Centre. Primarily we were set up for safe and sustainable fossil collecting in the 80s, but since then we have developed with the designation of the Lyme Bay Marine Reserve, so we do an awful lot in the way of seashore surveys, seashore safaris for the kids in the schools. We've branched out obviously into scavenger hunting on the Strand line, to explore the ecology of the coastline as well, beach cleaning, nurdle hunting, which is really important. We also look at the landscapes that we have here, and we do lots of geography sessions for schools. So it's quite a mix of natural sciences subjects that we do here. I think the legacy I would like to leave is people actually having that awareness about how the coast changes. And for me, I think that's bigger than anything, is it's just trying to get that message over to younger people, to visitors. A lot of the time when I take families out on rock pool rambles and seashore safaris, yes, we're having a great time finding fish and crabs, but I try to then get them to come and look at the Strand line and realise how much plastic is hidden there. And a lot of them will turn around and go, do you know, I just never had a clue. And I think for them to then take that away and think about it is the legacy I want to leave behind. Is that just trying to engage with people to think about how they use products, to think about how they might use things in the future. They can pass it on, you know, to their next generation. And for me, I think that's probably the most important thing that I can give to the next generation. And somebody might come along and continue that work that we're doing behind me.
I do a session called Art for Fun, so it's not a lesson, because 28 years in teaching kind of puts you off that. And for 3 years it was actually a free activity. This year it's a whole 50p donation. But it's about, I've got the tools in terms of like 170 odd colours in pens. So I let people use the pens, I give them the paper. They can draw anything they like. Some of them copy things that I've done in the past. And it's about really getting people of all ages to just have a go at art and enjoy it and have fun. And when you've got the artists sat there in hand-drawn outfits or hand-drawn hats and doing various similar things, it's very entertaining. I mean, we have great conversations. And for example, I was just saying earlier, August, on average, I host 400 individual drawing sessions in 4 days a week of being in the shop. So it gets quite busy. Never thought it would grow to this extent, but I've got regular families. This will be their 4th summer coming back to do art working with children. I love working with adults, trying to learn new skills. And it's great because you just get to chat to people. And this week I've had visitors from Monterey in California, although they are moving to Dorset for a couple of years. A few weeks ago I was at Corfe Castle for the day and had people from 3 different states in the US and somebody else from Corfe Castle. So it's, yeah, you get to meet people from a mixture of different areas, different experiences, and it is very much a sort of community little feel, and it becomes a hub.
We used to come down to the coast to West Bay or to Charmouth. And I remember when I was about 8, some centuries ago, that I discovered a really nice large ammonite, which really sort of turned me into being a vaguely sort of geological person. Yeah. And this is where geology developed almost as a subject. You know, it's not just that it's fantastic landforms and fantastic geology, but fantastic because this is where the great ideas developed. Yeah. Well, it is actually Portland is my favourite place because it's got these world-class landforms dotted around it. There's a great raised beach at the far end, which is the best in southern England. We've got Chesil Beach and the Fleet, of course, which are unique, all these wonderful landforms. So within quite a small compass, you've got a geomorphological delight, really.
So you're kind of on the reserve itself, well, anywhere that has a similar kind of situation, so kind of nature reserve or areas that are quite highly protected, you obviously want them to be known. So you want them to be known about and people to appreciate them and visit them to see the kind of wonder that they hold. And if in the future, I'd still like to see kind of these pockets that are very much limited in terms of access and things like that, just to allow those little pockets to kind of thrive, to give kind of nature a space and to allow that to thrive. So we don't need to be everywhere and walk over everything to see all of that, to allow these little areas to kind of thrive like that. And that would apply across all of our coast, really. So for people to be enjoying it and seeing it, and obviously brought to the area for that reason, but to be respectful of it and appreciate it. It's very broad, from vegetation, so the things that are on Chesil itself, within the lagoon, and then obviously the wildlife as well. So there's the obvious things, so birds are a big obvious one, so we just saw an osprey earlier on, obviously you've got the swans here, all of the things down to the little waders that use the foreshores for feeding. Behind us we've got Chesil, and there's the obvious kind of shrubby sea blight that goes along the foreshore there, but then you've got what from here just looks like brown patches of not much, is kind of lichens and things like that. So on areas that aren't accessed at all, like this area here, the communities of lichens and mosses and things like that can all establish on that shingle because it doesn't get turned over. So all of those things are becoming established and have done for many years. And then within that, you've got all of the invertebrates and things that live within the sediments on Chesil itself, within the lagoon, that you wouldn't really see, but are all there and vital to the kind of whole ecosystem.
My job is really varied, and that I love. So I do a multiple of things, and really I think it's about the people I work with. You know, I've got 6 great teams, one of them obviously Dorset Coast Forum, so you know my passion in the coast continues. I do stuff around nutrients, around mitigation, around heathlands, nature conservation, and you know it's a really interesting job. So I'd say where I am today, this is one of my best spots. It's 5 minutes from my house. I've brought the kids here for years. I still sea swim here. Every time I come, it's slightly different, and sometimes I go the other side because of the wind, and sometimes we go this side. But this is a real special place. We meet friends. I come on my own. It's a place you can do all of that. I love it. I don't know. There's an energy here. I can't explain it. It's the noise, the energy. Just it's very. Even on a storm day, I love it. There's a real peacefulness, even on a storm day. It's just, yeah, I love the feeling and watching it.
Because I've since learned it's possible to make a change, and you can, and it's quite simple, and all you need is a bit of time, and you see the success. I mean, I like seeing the track, you know, how much plastic we recycled, and proving a point to other people, and we have made some stuff, but it was mainly we wanted to set up things that had a lasting legacy rather than just litter picking. Like if you stop litter picking, then you know the beach was nice that day, but hopefully setting up schemes like this, you know, in the future, you know, when I'm not here to do this, hopefully someone will carry on this and the scheme will be going on forever rather than just set up a scheme and then walk away. You know, there's an investment in the schemes as well, but it takes up a lot of time. That's the problem.
To rewind back to the days of COVID, which I know we don't really talk about too much now, but that took me back to a time when I worked in a local primary school, and we came back to school after COVID, and lots of children were finding life really difficult. Attendance was tricky. The reintegration back into the classroom was hard for some of them, and I think just confidence had been knocked. Social skills were quite different. You know, those skills had dropped off a little bit, and we just needed to build up that confidence rebuild friendships and that sort of thing. And it was just really hard to find something to match that criteria. And that's kind of where it was born from in the early days. So we realised quite quickly that by putting a young person on the water completely out of their comfort zone, in waves, in water that's maybe a little bit deeper than they're used to, things would just evolve. So they became a little bit more confident, they became more determined, and friendships were born from that. So we started introducing this windsurf programme. So if we fast forward a little bit, I was then employed by the OTC to run this programme for our local children. So we first of all started off in the first year with 36 children, but here we are 3 years later and over 200 children have taken part in our programme. So we feel really proud of everything that we've achieved. And of course it's a joint effort. I can't do it single-handedly. I need all of my colleagues here behind me to help me run all of these sessions, but everybody's super focused on just getting the best outcomes for these kids.
I started in about 2011-12. And well, the health benefits, I think I used sea swimming for many years as help for mental health, my mental health. I mean, I had some difficult times. I had a very difficult time coming out of the pandemic, COVID. My father died, stuff like that. And I grew over a number of years, like, to become slightly addicted to very cold water, along with some other people and friends. You know, we used to meet at Green Hill on Sunday mornings all year round. I've been all over. You know, I've swum from Lulworth to Weymouth. Going through Durdle Doors, quite good fun, but not for the uninitiated. There are some caves down the Purbeck coast that you can only get in when you're swimming, which is quite interesting. Wherever you go, is, you know, just going in the water changes your sort of mental demeanor and frees you up. You know, it makes you feel alive. So it's worth doing wherever. You know, find a group online that goes regularly from a spot. I mean, we started Weymouth Bay Sea Swimmers, and there's a Facebook group that has, you know, hundreds. I don't know if it's made 1,000. There's a lot of swimmers who still join it, and this has been going years. And they ask for advice, and the advice is always like, you know, come with us, come with people who know what they're doing, who know the water, you know, there's no currents at Weymouth Bay, but around here there's probably a few more. And then swim within yourself, you know, go with someone else, have someone there, and swim within yourself, and be sensible.
I've been privileged basically to work at Studland for 24 years now, and it's been a role working, managing the beach, managing the visitors that come on site, managing the staff, the whole kind of property really at Studland, and allowing people to come and enjoy this amazing environment, which is just beautiful today with the sun out, but it's just the most special place. And over the years, so many people say how special it is to them, what it means to them. And so, yeah, that's kind of my role over that time. I mean, your office is the beach, isn't it? I mean, you know, you can't get better than that. It's phenomenal. And, you know, year round as well, it's the most beautiful place to come to each day. The people that come here want to come because they want to enjoy themselves, they want to relax, they want to go for a wonderful walk or walk their dogs or sea swim, whatever it happens to be. So they're coming here because they want to enjoy themselves or have you know, space, time, etc. So that you don't have to interfere too much. People come and enjoy themselves, and we do an awful lot of kind of management behind the scenes, but hopefully people don't see too much of that and they just, you know, see a beautiful beach. I think that the landscape is just stunning, the different colours, as you kind of compartmentalise from the beautiful blue of the sea, which looks like the Med a lot of the time, the beautiful golden sand, which you can always tell in pictures Studland sand because it's just different to everywhere else, and the amazing dunes behind it, and the heather it's not quite up yet, but when the heather comes out in end of July, August, just the coloration's just absolutely stunning. and the big wide open landscape as well. And then obviously the wildlife that we have here as well. You could be walking through the pathways and adder crosses in front of you, or a lizard is, you know, sat near you while you're having a picnic. There's the amazing bird life in the winter that comes and feeds on the seaweed, etc. So it's all here, it's all around, but it's just carrying on doing its thing as everybody else is as well. So that's the great thing about it.
I originated from Southern California and came here to the UK in 2003 and started working in fishing. But it wasn't until 2017 that Blue Marine kind of brought me to Lyme, and I started working with the fishermen there. So I've worked 8 years now with the fishermen in Lyme Bay.
Yeah, I'm part of a generational fishing family from just down the coast slightly. Obviously, growing up into fishing has been a passion throughout my life, and sort of the next step is to start looking after the coast rather than sort of completely fishing altogether. So chairman of the CIC now currently, and trying to do more for the fishing community than anything else. Just the freedom more than anything. You're not stuck in a box, we're looking at office walls all day. So
it's the fishermen, it's their knowledge. It's just, I think they're just natural born conservationists. If you speak to inshore fishermen, not only do they care about the sea, they care about the communities from where they live and they work. And I think watching that in Southern California, it's quite busy, but when you came here and I came to these coastal communities, the kind of heart and the fact that fishing in the coastal communities are just intertwined, and for me it's just really something special. One of the things that was really exciting when we did the first conceptual workshop where the fishermen came together and created this, there were options for limited companies or charities and stuff like that, but the fishermen wanted a community interest company. And the reason behind that is the majority, more than 50% of your outputs have to be community focused. So while they came together with fishing interest, they made it a point that that company had to focus not only on fishing but community stuff as well. And we've done that over the last couple of years. We've ran a lot of initiatives that try and encourage local and tourists to come in and go to businesses and spend money, because we're conscious that for some of these businesses, the summer months, that's where they've got to earn all the income to get them through the winter. So anything that we can do to try and help footfall or help turnover, that's what our CIC is there to do, is to work with the community so that we can prosper together and meet these challenges together.
So I've worked at Land and Wave for about 13 years now. So being outdoors has always been part of work and play and everything that I do, and I've also grown up round here in Dorset, so spent my childhood at the beach, and my parents have a beach hut, so it's always been sort of ingrained in everyday life. The sea swimming was very natural, something that I do all the time, but the big push for the big swim was trying to get more women into the outdoors. For the past 5 years we've been trying to really sort of make the outdoors more inclusive for women, particularly women working in the outdoors. So getting 500 women on the beach in March when it was really cold, getting them to step out of the comfort zone was something really special and an amazing experience. We had loads of women that were trying it for the first time, which was amazing to me. For someone to try it for the first time in March is quite impressive, really. So that was really special, that people were sort of willing to take part in this community event and sort of really step out of their comfort zone and do something that they loved. And I think sometimes doing things like this can be quite daunting for people, but there was such an amazing community. You were sort of standing shoulder to shoulder with all these amazing women in bright swimming costumes and, you know, good positive energy. So it was a really special event for everyone, the people that have swim all the time and then the people that were new to it as well. It was really inclusive.
For me it was quite an easy decision. My children have been involved in the lifeguard service for the last 10 seasons, so this is Ben's 10th season. I had a little bit more time, so I thought, why not give it a try, see if I can pass the fitness test, which I can, thankfully. And it's great to be involved with the youngsters. They're teaching me new things, and it's great being out on the beach.
I've been lucky enough to grow up in this stunning area of the coast, and I've been a swimmer my whole life. So I think, it was just a great job to be able to give back to the community and keep others safe in the water, make sure everyone's enjoying themselves at the beach. I have to say, I think my favourite spot is probably Lyme Regis Beach, partly because we lifeguard there, and it's a stunning town. The water's beautiful on a day like today, and yeah, my family's been around this area for a while. It's someone that I've visited as a young child, and I get to work there now, so I'm really lucky.
Went to college after school, trained as a chef. Didn't really know what to do, but grandmother was always a good cook in a big house in Cheltenham, and so I remember that as a little, and I suppose that's why I was drawn to having a go at that, and that's what I did. Trained as a chef originally, several jobs in local pubs and restaurants, and then I went to the Hilton in London. Then I decided I wanted to be back by the seaside, and I worked again for a little while. Fell into the fish industry quite by accident. Spent God knows how many years on Brixton Fish Market, basically taking fish and putting it into restaurant. Value add to the seafood that we had. For instance, like cuttlefish was being thrown away in those days. We didn't know what to do with it. Now it's Brixton gold. Yeah. You know, and we're you know, the new raising is the octopus you're hearing about. Yep. You know, that's for somebody like me. That's the first time in my career or lifetime that this phenomenon. It happens every so often. It's not anything new.
Oh no.
And the same with the tuna coming back. Wow. And of course, the challenge is now with our knowledge, maybe we will fish the fishery properly and look after it and let it feed the community, let it provide money for the community.
Keep doing what you're doing.
I enjoy doing it, and I want to put something in that's a legacy, really. Yeah. And I like it's hospitality. Whether it's growing an oyster and opening it for somebody, or whether it's the whole thing is hospitality. It's making somebody happy. It's giving somebody a memory, or educating somebody. Yeah. And education is really, really important. Really important. You know, without the knowledge, you don't know what you're eating. You don't know without the knowledge of where something comes from, you don't know. Without the knowledge of what's gone into something coming, because you're close, you know, and I can see the water from when I stay here and we're here. I've always been involved with it. I'm drawn to water. Whether it's a lake, whether it's a river, I'm drawn to water. I've realised that the whole coast is, to me, an asset we're not using to the full.
I've been diving in Dorset, I don't know, over 45 years now. Very quickly took up with contributing to Sea Search because I was taking in with like-minded people, doing projects and recording and doing the sort of things that interested me for diving, really. That's my reason for getting there, and I've kept going ever since. So diving, definitely Lyme Bay. No, Lyme Bay and the limestone reefs in Lyme Bay. They're absolutely amazing. And now that they're protected, they're really burgeoning with life.
I live here at Chesil Cove. I used to come here on holiday as a child, and so I moved back down here 13 years ago, something like that. Moved back to Chesil Cove itself, which is lovely. Like Lynn, I love diving in Lyme Bay, but really anywhere. I'd probably dive in a puddle. I just like being underwater. And looking at the stuff that's down there. Yes. So I mean, I learned to dive in the Mediterranean on holiday, and I was always the one trying to find out what I'd seen. And then when I decided I wanted to do more diving, had to learn to dive in the UK, etc., etc. That's when I got involved in Sea Search. I discovered this tribe of like-minded, slightly anarchy in a good way, people who were interested in the marine life and have gone on to become really good friends. Putting your hobby and your interest, something that you really love doing and makes you feel great in yourself, knowing that it's doing a good thing as well, like Lynn says, you know, contributing records, knowing that your photos of what's going on underwater helps other people to see it and care about it like you do, and hopefully proves that there's some data to underpin, you know, legislation and protection. That's what you hope anyway.
Definitely. We've seen lots of things coming in, new stuff. We've had a fish we saw last week in Lyme Bay, first Dorset record for that, comber. We've been monitoring gobies and seaweeds and things like that and watching it change. as the years have gone by. Efforts have been made to try and protect marine life, and areas have been designated. Some of them, like the Lyme Bay area, is very effective protection, others are less so, obviously. And the cost of trying to implement some of these things is difficult.
Yeah.
But at least there's an increased awareness of it, so that's an important part. And with more people being able to contribute easily to records and things, it's, you know, that all builds up into a good database.
Well, who wouldn't want to be up here with this view, watching what's going on? Every duty is different. There's no two duties the same. You've got, even in the winter months, you've got all the wildlife as well, if you haven't got anything out at sea. It's just a lovely place to come and do some volunteering and feel as though you're putting something back into the local boating community. So different. You're up on the top of the cliff. You've got the view. It's obviously lovely to walk all along the coastal path and go to the different aspects along the coastal path. But this is special up here. I'd like to make certain this station continues, hence the fundraising we do. I would also like cameras placed in the bay to the east, so we have a blind spot so we could see Dancing Ledge, because the number of accidents or incidents happening there is increasing year on year on. And if we could see what was going on, we can easily send screenshots to the Coast Guard, get help to the people far more quickly. The same goes for Chapman's Pool to the west. If we could see that way as well, we can be of more use to more people if we could be allowed to have cameras.